Hello, how are you today? I'm going to talk about my experience in applying for public health in the United Kingdom straight from Nigeria. This is a very difficult thing to do because in the United Kingdom, you would have to compete with a lot of people who are highly experienced. But in my case, I had no UK experience, but I still went ahead to apply. And thankfully, I was successful to come over to the UK back then in 2022 to start my first public health job. So I would like to walk you through the things I did, and if that would be of help, then I would have achieved my aim of doing this video. But before we go into that, I would encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also to press the notification button so that you can see other videos when they come up. Okay, so there are basic things that I will just talk about, basic points that I will marshal out for you so that if we go through it step by step, it might make sense to you. The first thing I need you to know is if you want to get a public health job in the United Kingdom, you really need to know where to search. That's very important. Some people don't know the websites, the various places they need to search to be able to hit the right job. So the first thing you need to know is to search the right place. And there are a number of websites that can be of use to you. Things like Arjuna, Indeed, public NHS websites, both the one in England and the one in Scotland. So you can search for public health jobs in all those places, and you might be able to get opportunities to see the ones that match your eligibility criteria. So the second thing you would need to do is when you have started searching and found out the job or a number of jobs that you can apply for, you have to first of all check whether your eligibility criteria, your competencies match the eligibility criteria. So usually the jobs will go through various things they want, or the person specification, if you want to put it that way. And if you go through that, what you're trying to compare is, does this thing, or do they match with what I've got in my CV? If you know that all through the the eligibility criteria, especially the essential ones, that you don't have them, it might be a waste of time. I say they might be because sometimes there are other things that may be considered, but the essential criteria are usually very important in any job application. So you look through and find out whether you've got all the eligibility criteria or most of them to apply for the job. So in my own case, I looked at the eligibility criteria and I felt that I was qualified to apply for the job. Then the next thing I did, which a number of people don't get to consider, was to make an informal contact with the recruiters. But in most jobs, they will sort of tell you, this is the contact if you need more questions, if you need more clarification or anything at all. They will put in a name and a number or an email to make contact with. I think it's very important to use that opportunity to have a discussion, informal discussion with the team. What it does for you is to help you balance between whether the job is the right fit for you and whether you are the right candidate they are looking for. So when I applied for my job, then I actually emailed the team to say, I've seen the job you've put on the internet and I'm interested in this job. Can we discuss? Let me see how whether this is a perfect match for me. And funny enough, or not, well, I won't say funny enough. Well, surprisingly to me, they responded and said, "Okay, we could have an opportunity to speak to the team," and we arranged the meeting. But before the meeting, I had to prepare some of the questions I was going to ask them. So I made sure I was going to ask very relevant questions about, tell me more about the job, who are the people I'm going to be working in in this job? Should I get it? And who are you considering to be an ideal candidate? So these are some of the questions I discussed with them, and it proved to be very useful because at the end of the discussion, I realized that yeah, there's actually a hope in this job, and so the other thing is that the same people that actually had the informal discussion with me also happened to be the people that interviewed me in the real interview when they were ready for the interview. So what does that mean? This was the second time we were going to make contact with each other. They have already seen me, so this is not the first contact, and I was a bit more relaxed. So my advice to you is, if you're looking for any job and there is a contact for you to make, I mean, a contact person for you to talk to, please use that opportunity. It does a lot of good work in your application process because you find out whether this job is what you want, or whether the job is the right thing for you, and whether you're the right candidate for them. So fast forward to the interview period. um, I did a number of things that I will also recommend if you're like me looking to do a public health job in the United Kingdom. So it was like a week gap from the time I got the information about the interview. I had to go through a number of online tutorials on how to present on, I mean, how to answer questions on YouTube. There are so many of them, but I picked one of them and went through how to answer specific questions. One of those questions will be, tell me about yourself. That question might look very simple, but sometimes you find out that the answer is not as simple as that. So tell me about yourself. I went through those videos. How, I mean, I also looked at different scenarios of different kind of questions that I could be asked in a public health setting. So that helped me to prepare. But even before meeting the interviewers, I also had opportunity to speak to one or two friends to kind of conduct a mock interview for me, including my wife. So kudos to my wife because she was really very instrumental. And I sort of arranged 20 questions and asked her to ask me those questions so that I would be able to respond. So as I was responding, she was correcting me. You should have said it this way. You shouldn't have said it that way. And all those efforts helped in shaping what I was going to respond. So, and in the interview, I prepared like I had the job already. It might sound funny, but even though it was a virtual interview, I wore suit. Can you imagine? And put on tie. So, and I looked maybe like the best candidate that they could take. Well, I don't know whether it was contributory to what happened, but I just prepared like someone who was ready for the job. And the questions they asked weren't so much different from the things that I had already discussed with them during the informal conversation. So it helped me to relax so much, and even saying things that they had told me before. So that connection was there. And at the end of the interview, I was able to claim the job. So I wouldn't end by not saying this. Of course, many people would have done those things I have done and they didn't get the job. But I think there's also a God factor in some of those things. So I may have prepared all I needed to prepare, but I also prayed. So I asked God to help me so that I will be able to say the right words at the right time, say the things that the panelists would would be happy to hear, and that would make them want to give me the job. And at the end of the interview, I am glad to say that it was a successful one. And that got me into the position of a clinical fellow in public health. And that actually means a doctor who works in public health. So, and that point, we had to now travel as a family from Nigeria to the United Kingdom for the sole purpose of the job. And the job was basically to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic, to support the consultants in the health protection department to respond to that. So I don't know whether this video has helped you in any way, but these are the things I did. And I encourage you, if you've been applying and not getting, please keep applying. One day you will tell your own sweet story. Bye for now and see you in my next video. Bye.